Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
So this is our last night to be together. We are closing tonight for a brief summer holiday, and we'll reopen again the day after Labor Day. So after we finish talking tonight, we're going to have a brief closing ceremony, because when we close for this sort of time, we put the Buddha to sleep, and we block off the statue so that the Buddha rests, and so do we. And so that's how tonight will be. So I have just some brief thoughts tonight. I was very taken. Well, I hope all of you got to see the eclipse the other day. It was very spectacular, no matter where you were. It was just a stunning thing to witness. And the thing that I found very interesting, aside from all of the amazing things going on in the sky, was what we called it, the path of totality. I mean, nothing could be more Zen than the path of totality. So I wanted to think about the path of totality a little bit tonight. This path that we do take is, something, especially for lay people, is a very difficult path, because our lives are so complicated, especially these days. We have so much to take care of. I think it's much harder today than it used to be. So many things to deal with, the oncoming of all of these things that we have been given that's supposed to make life easier have really complicated us. Even something like the washing machine, because it breaks down and has to be taken care of, and it just takes so much time for everything. And certainly, cars and work and houses and all of the things that we have are just so problematic for us today. So we haven't done ourselves any great thing by the world that we have built today, I don't think. However wonderful, certainly things are better in many ways, but they're also very complicated. So when we come to practice, then we are told about this wholehearted way. This, path of totality. I'm calling it the wholehearted way. So many people flooded into the path of totality, this urge to feel the completeness of the event, to see it in its whole place, its whole fullness. And when we come to Zen, we come with that kind of sense that we want to experience awakening. We want to know the fullness and the totality of it. Just like the Buddha. We are not different from the Buddha. So this is a very difficult thing then, to feel where the balance is and how we can incorporate this practice in our already complicated lives, and then feel that we are wholehearted in what we are able to do. So this question of balance goes along with us. Even if we are monks, even if we are living here at Olympia Zen Center, we have the question of balance. Where is my balance in practice? And how do I give 100% and at the same time also give 100% over here in all of the needs that our lives bring? Because even if we live here, we have cars and we have to shop and we have washing machines here that break down, and that all of these things, and the garden that needs care. So we have as complicated a life, except that we don't have the question of whether we are getting there for practice. We are in practice if we live here. But for lay people, it's a difficult question, and we sometimes start coming and then we fall away because we just can't keep going. So how do we hold that balance of really understanding the path of totality, really understanding wholeheartedness. Because tonight, when we sat zazen and then the bell rang to walk, this is a reminder of how we walk in our lives. That we get up from the cushion and we walk and we hold practice and we hold the mind of awakening, we hold the mind of zazen, and then we come back to the cushion and we sit zazen. So to try and understand in our lives how to carry practice in the midst of the chaos of the freeway, in the midst of the stuck freeway, and all that we have to do. So, at the same time, we have to return to the cushion. So, just remembering the path of totality. I know that I didn't see the path. I saw the path. I saw it totally. What I saw was total for me, of course. But I stayed in Olympia. But next time I'm going to go to the path of totality. I understand it was pretty spectacular. So here it got very eerie. Maybe the light was a little bit lighter than it is now. Not quite dusk. There were still shadows because there was still that small piece of that 7% of the sun was amazingly bright. But what was very interesting was that right about at the peak, my sister had to go inside. We were on a deck at her house that looks straight due east. She had to go inside for something, and she said, "You have to go inside." So I went inside, and it was pitch dark inside. And yet we still had shadow outside. It was so interesting. And I guess because even though we had that much light, we no longer had reflecting light. Just this eerie quiet that came over the earth. So where we were here in Olympia, we had a very beautiful experience also, although we did not get the diamond that came out afterwards. But I took a few photographs, and I have some spectacular photographs of the corona and the light that goes even out from the corona in a green blue outside of that. So, the spectacular universe that we live in. As we are hurtling through space at, how fast do we move? 23,000 miles per hour or something like that?
It's like 84.
Sorry, 84,000 miles per hour we are moving at.
Well, and everything else is moving, so it's...
Yeah, we're all moving, but we are moving. And then we are also spinning, and that's what's going 23,000 miles an hour. Something like that in this way. And then this way around the sun, we are 84,000. I mean, it's just incredible. It's just inconceivable. And then we also learned the other day, or I learned, that if you put a scope on the South Pole and one on the North Pole, there are 20 billion light years they reach in opposite directions. It's amazing. We can't conceive of this. So that we see the moon moving in front of the sun for this moment is just, I think, uplifting and so unifying for all of us. For 2.5 minutes, we had no politics. It was very inspiring, and I think everybody felt so good just about the event itself. So this kind of holding the wholeheartedness of practice, honoring the work that we do, honoring our lives, honoring what has to be done, recognizing that this is also awakening, that this is also the heart of practice, that to be repairing the washing machine, our washing machine is fine, I shouldn't bring that up. You worry that you caused something when you talk about it like that, but whatever it is we are doing, that maybe needs repair, or something that seems so menial a task that has to be taken care of. This too is done with a wholehearted mind, and this then is the mind of awakening in action. So please remember this, that it's how we do the work that we do, not what we do. We've got a lot to do for the next 7 years. We have to hope that we're all still here, right? Keep the earth in good shape and our country in good shape by keeping good thought and keeping ourselves in balance in the midst of the chaos and the stuff. So we won't go there.